sector to boost food production. On foreign team, United States confirms plan for private firms to provide humanitarian aid to Palestinians as Israel blockade continues for third month. And in sport, FIFA expands Women's World Cup to 48 teams from the 2031 edition. And now the details. I am Mike James. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to increasing investment in health infrastructure across the state, with a focus on emergency response, maternal care, and disease prevention to meet the growing needs of the people. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who stated this at the official handover ceremony of the newly constructed Accident and Emergency Center at Ekpe, said it marks a new benchmark in the state's infrastructural and social development agenda. He noted that the facility would also expand access to urgent and life-saving medical services, particularly for riverine and rural communities in Lagos, improve patient outcomes and also enhance staff performance, ensure faster response times, and strengthen public trust in the health sector. He had this to say.
This facility, like they said, is a level 4 tier facility that will triage and stabilize the event of an accident. It's difficult for us to say that this is when accident is going to happen. We don't know. A world-class facility like this will ensure that when it does happen, you have a place where you can bring them in first to quickly stabilize people. And it's always that first 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes that is critical, stabilizing life. And so what it will do is to be able to analyze what needs to be done on a medium to a long-term basis. But at least the first thing is that life has been saved. We've been able to preserve life, and we'll be able to now take it forward to know what additional level of medical facility will be required.
Also speaking at the event, Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, said the Sanwo-Olu administration is committed to deepening public-private partnerships, particularly in health insurance schemes that can support emergency medical care. He noted that the state will continue to develop initiatives that enhance healthcare delivery, including the design of programs that ensure the sustainability of emergency services. The facility, which is a collaboration between the Lagos State Ministry of Health and Custodian Social Responsibility Foundation, is equipped with triage units, fully fitted emergency wards, diagnostic sections, staff lounges, and comfortable waiting areas. Governor Sanwo-Olu also paid a working visit to Charterhouse Lagos Secondary School, the first British independent school in Nigeria, at Lekki Phase 1. Plans is underway by the Lagos State government to domesticate the National Women Economic Empowerment WE policy. The policy targets women empowerment in agriculture, skills development, entrepreneurship, and emerging industries to drive economic independence for women in Lagos. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, WAPA, Bolaji Dada, stated this at the ongoing ministerial press briefing to mark the second-year anniversary of the second term of the Sanwo-Olu administration held at Alausa, while noting that the state government has expended almost 2 billion naira to empower the vulnerable. Dada said 10,464 residents graduated from the 20 vocational skills centers across the state from 2023 to date, empowered with tools to start up their businesses, while another 5,013 people will also graduate in the next 2 months.
WAPA will continue to be committed to digital innovation, entrepreneurship development, gender equality, and poverty eradication strategies that will build a safer, stronger, and more inclusive Lagos for all. As we continue this journey, I urge every stakeholder, every partner, and every resident of Lagos State to remain engaged. Together, let us keep lifting, building, and transforming our Lagos.
The Commissioner noted that over 2,000 cases of gender-based violence were reported in the last 1 year, out of which 195 were males. Dada noted that the domestic violence survivors shelter under construction in Agedingbe is 70% near completion, which will be used to provide temporary accommodation for victims with provision of psychosocial support and free legal services for them before reintegrating them into the society. Our correspondent Adiola Kindele reports that 16,000 young ladies and rural women have benefited from the free sanitary pad initiative as part of efforts to promote menstrual hygiene. Legacy government has rescheduled the previously announced traffic diversion for repair works on the Ogudu-Oronshoki Bridge. Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Oshiemi in a statement says a new date for the repair works will be communicated. Oshiemi says the state government remains committed to ensuring public safety and minimal disruption during infrastructural upgrades, calling for motorist patience, understanding and continued cooperation. Now to the rest of the stories. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, has called for the urgent adoption of digital technology in Nigeria's agricultural sector to boost food production, curb rising prices, and reduce the country's dependence on food imports. Speaking in Abeokuta at the Ogun Tech Forward Innovation and Startups Roundtable session, Tijani stressed that Nigeria's vast arable land and large population could only be effectively harnessed through technological intervention. He warned that without embracing innovation, traditional farming practices would remain inefficient and expensive, putting food security at risk. Tijani noted that the continuous rise in food prices and the country's dependence on foreign exchange to import grains that can be grown locally is unsustainable. The minister also made a broader case for inclusive innovation across the country, cautioning that Nigeria's technological future cannot be shaped by a few urban centers alone. Tijani assured that the federal government would back Ogun Tech Hub's initiative aimed at creating 300 jobs through business process outsourcing as part of a broader vision to transform Nigerian state into talent cities. The minister called for the integration of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics and drones into key sectors, particularly agriculture, while advocating for the adoption of generative AI in education to support personalized, accessible learning across communities. Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has hailed the pace and quality of work and the ongoing renovation of the International Conference Center ICC, stating that the country deserves the best ICC. The minister made this known after an inspection tour of the facility and the N5 road in Life Camp in the FCT. Wike, who was grateful to President Bola Tinubu for his vision and commitment to excellence in transforming the ICC into a world-class facility, said the ICC is the first project that, when complete, will be inaugurated by the President to mark his second year in office. The minister also spoke about his recent trip to China as a follow-up visit to support the production of water for the satellite towns. And in some foreign news, the United States has confirmed that a new system for providing humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza through private companies is being prepared as Israel's blockade continues for a third month. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee said distribution centers protected by security contractors would provide food and other supplies to over 1 million people initially as part of an effort to prevent Hamas stealing aid. The United Nations and other agencies said they have strong supervisory mechanisms and that when aid has surged into Gaza, incidents of looting have largely halted. The Trump administration is trying to build momentum behind a new aid initiative ahead of the president's trip next week to wealthy Arab Gulf countries that could help to fund it. The UN and other aid agencies also pointed out that they currently have tons of supplies piled up near Gaza's border crossings, ready to enter if Israel would allow it. And now sports news. FIFA has announced the Women's World Cup will be expanded from 32 to 48 teams like the men's competition, starting with the 2031 edition. The sports governing body said the FIFA Council unanimously agreed to enlarge the competition given the remarkable recent strides made by women's football across the world. FIFA said the 48-team tournament will adopt a 12-group format, increasing the total number of matches from 64 to 104 and extending the tournament by 1 week. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said the expansion followed the success of the 2023 World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, won by Spain. The 2027 tournament in Brazil, which is the 10th edition of the women's event, will remain at 32 teams. FIFA is yet to ratify the 2031 and 2035 hosts. And that was our news at 10. Just before we go, maintain adequate distance from the vehicle ahead of you to avoid collisions. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website at www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, 18,000 teachers were trained under EcoExile? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to increasing investment in health infrastructure across the state with a focus on emergency response, maternal care and disease prevention to meet the growing needs of the people. Governor Sanwo-Olu stated this at the official handover ceremony of the newly constructed Accident and Emergency Center at Ekpe. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, has called for the urgent adoption of digital technology in Nigeria's agricultural sector to boost food production, curb rising prices and reduce the country's dependence on food imports. We also told you that the United States has confirmed that a new system for providing humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza through private companies is being prepared as Israel's blockade continues for a third month. And in sport, FIFA has announced the Women's World Cup will be expanded from 32 to 48 teams, like the men's competition, starting with the 2031 edition. And for contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Kayode Mafalashiri. Thank you for listening, Lagos. My name is Mike James. Beautiful morning to you.